Okay, so today what we will be learning is what is Python, how does it look like, how do we write a code in Python, what are the different packages of Python, how to use that, how to download that, what are the different data structure of Python, how do we import different files into Python, how do we copy a data set, how do we slice and dice a data or filter a data or use certain conditions. Okay, some couple of extra tricks about filtering. These are the things what we'll be learning today. Okay, so we are going to take about 1 hour or so to learn that, and afterwards I'll be happy to take up your questions. So, and afterwards you can tell me whether you find the coding difficult or not so difficult or reasonably difficult, whatever it is your feedback is. And remember, I told you that there is a learning guarantee, that each and every one of you are going to at least will be able to understand whatever we are teaching. So let's find out. Okay, so whatever I'm saying, does it have any substance or it is only noise? I mean, this is the best way to figure it out. Okay, first of all, when I said Python, so Python is a software, okay, which comes as free of cost. You do not have to pay anything. So let's understand how do we download and install it into our computer. So what you do, you go to Google, okay, now download, I mean, write. Now in Python, the software Python has different platform, okay. Using different platform, we can write the Python code. Now the most suitable platform or the most user-friendly platform is called Anaconda. All right, it's called Anaconda. Uh, so what we'll do, we'll write download Anaconda. Okay, just write download Anaconda and press the enter button. Invariably, the first link what you're going to get is anaconda.com. This website holds the software. Click on it. Okay, anaconda.com, and your data science toolkit. Click on download. It will take you down. So over here, Windows. Um, if you're using a Mac, you click over here, or Linux, but I understand most of you will be using a Windows platform. So for Python 3.8, this is the version which is the latest one. You click on 64-bit graphical installer. As soon as you click it, just right click, it'll start getting downloaded onto your local drive. An exe file will be downloaded. Okay, in case you are using a 32-bit, then you click on 32-bit, but I'm sure that, I mean, most of you will be a 64-bit one. If you don't know whether it's a 64-bit or 32-bit, so what you can do, go to my computer, right click, go to properties. Over here you can see system type 64-bit operating system. Okay, so you simply download it. Once it is downloaded, double click on it. Okay, and just simply double click on it, and it'll ask you to keep on clicking on the next button, keep on clicking on the next button, and it will be installed. So like I have it in my download section. This is the Anaconda. Okay, double click it. It's going to ask you to keep click on the next button. It might take a couple of minutes or so. In my case, it is taking too much of time. I don't know why. Maybe I'm using a little older system. That's why. Doesn't matter. Okay, so it's going to be installed. Let me close it. So what did I say? Download it, double click it and install it. That's it. Once it is installed, you go to your start menu, all programs, and under all programs you can see there is a folder called Anaconda. Within Anaconda you can see there are different stuffs are there. One is Spider, another one is Jupyter Notebook. Both are the two different interfaces. You can use any one of them, but I'm going to show you Spider. Okay, but both are going to use the exactly same code and the same result, so no difference whatsoever. So I'll click on Spider, click on Spider, and a Spider is going to open up. Okay, this is how it looks like. So earlier I was working on some codes, that's why it is showing over here. You can, by pressing Ctrl A, select them all and delete it. Okay, now over here what you do is, over here uh, exactly this is, you may have couple of other panes. Okay, but console and this one is the two most important panes are there. So I had closed the other panes. How did I do it? You go to view, go to panes. Okay, make sure you have the editor, Python console. These two are just clicked on. All right, if you wish you can have more panes like File Explorer, so you'll have another window. Okay, but it is not required for the time being. So view, panes, File Explorer, I'll close it. So you make sure that you have these two panes open, editor and Python console. Even if you you don't require the history log, you can click it and close it. This history log will be gone then. It is not required. Okay, or if you wish you can keep it as well, doesn't matter. So what we are going to do is, we'll be writing all our codes over here. Okay, over here in the temp.python, and we'll get to see the results over here in the console part. Okay, so we'll be writing all our codes over here and we'll get to see the results over here. You can also write the codes over here, but it's a better practice you write your codes over here and get to see the result over here. Okay, so let's see. So the first thing what we are going to learn is, there are a couple of packages. Packages are like, uh, this will give you uh, powers to Python to do more stuff. Okay, that is called a package. So it gives more, adds more capacity to Python. So two of the basic package is called, one is called pandas, another one is called numpy. All these packages are inbuilt. You don't have to download it, you just have to call it. How do you call pandas? I write import pandas. Mind it, these are all case sensitive. Okay, beware of the spelling and the case. If you write a capital P, it's not going to work. It has to be a small letter P. Import pandas. Similarly, import numpy. Okay, and how do you execute that? Either you click on the line somewhere, okay, and click on this button. This is the execution button, or the keyboard shortcut is by pressing F9. If you click over here anywhere in this line and press F9, then the entire line will get executed. If I try to select a portion of the line and by pressing F9, that only the portion will get executed. Okay, so these two things you should always import first. So this will add lots of capacities. Now the first thing we'll understand is, in Excel, how we get to see a normal data set in Excel. we get to see them by like this, some rows and columns, maybe name, age, sex, name maybe ABC, age maybe 123, sex maybe something like this. This is how we get to see them. But in Python, there are certain things called a data structure. These data can be definitely be like this, the way we are accustomed to see, but there are other formats as well. The other formats are just like something like this, which is just like a row. Okay, so how do we create this one? This is called a list. List means a group of values. How do we create it? Just by writing, maybe I will write a or age, just give a name equals to, just what if I don't have maybe 1 2 3, I have only one, so just like write 1 and press the F9. See, it gets executed. Now if I want to see what is there in age, just write again age, or select this portion and press F9. Now it is going to show me only one. If you don't select or click anywhere in the line and press F9, the entire line will get executed. So this selected portion will be executed and it's going to show me age has only one value as 1. What if I want to have maybe uh, more numbers than other than 1? Whenever you're writing more than 1, you need to write it in a third bracket. Okay, then 1, and if you want to write other numbers, you need to separate them with a comma, delimit them with a comma, maybe 2, maybe 6. Now if I execute it, whatever where earlier I had written age, which was 1, if I again execute it, it's going to override the previous value. Now it's going to become 1 2 and 6 because I wrote that. Okay, now I said everything has a property. These type of numbers are called list. So how do we know that whether it's a list or not? You write type, within bracket you write age. It's going to show you that it is a list. Okay, in a very similar way I can create just the same number 1 2 6, but the the type of number could be different. How? What if I write maybe with a different name I will give, maybe I will say only a, or maybe I will name it as age 1. Instead of third bracket I will put it in a first bracket, same number 1 2 6. See, I get the same result, but if I check the type, it's going to be a tuple. All right, now what is the difference between a list and a tuple? Essentially both are the same thing. Okay, there is a very subtle difference in this scenario. It's a good time to tell you also something, right? What if I want to write something like this is a list, and over here I write this is a tuple, so that you don't forget it, you remember it. But again, by mistake, if I execute it, Python will give me an error, because Python understands this is not a code. So I want to make Python understand this is not a code, this is a comment. So in order to make it a comment, what you do, you put a hash sign, okay, on the left hand side. See, the color is also changing. That means now if I execute it by mistake, it's not going to give me any error. Python understands it's a comment. Now now the difference between list and tuple is, in a list if I want, I can change any value. In a tuple I cannot change any value. For example, if I want to, age has 3 numbers, okay, but over here 3 numbers, it's easy for me to check them. What if there were more numbers? maybe 30 or 300 numbers were there. Just imagine. Then what I could do is I can check maybe the first element of this list or maybe the second element. So what I can do is I can write age. Okay. Within third bracket, if I write, okay, if I write 0, Python, whenever I write 0, Python understands the first element. Python always starts counting from 0. Okay. Normally what we say first, we say this is the first. Normally we say first, second, third, fourth. This is how normally we say. Python will count them starting from 0. This is 0. 0 means 1. 1 means 2. Okay. This is how Python counts. See, if I say this is normal and this is Python, these are the two ways of counting. Now, if I write age 0, it's going to show me that is 1. 0 means the first element. If I write A1, it's going to show me 2, the second element. I can change it. Okay, I can change it by writing equals to maybe 10. So the second element will become 10. But the same thing, I cannot do it with a tuple. Over here, I can write age 1, still is going to show me 2. But if I write equals to 10, it's going to object. Tuple cannot be changed. Okay, this is the only difference. And while creating a list, you need to put it in a square bracket. While creating a tuple, you need to put it in a first bracket. That's the only difference. All right, clear up to this much? Any question? Though I understand it's going to be a little boring this part, but hold on. I mean, so soon we'll get over it, and we'll reach the more interesting part. So this is the theoretical approach, and people need to know it. But I can also tell you that you're not going to use it in your practical life. This part, but just as a theory part, you need to be knowing it. Okay, there is one more thing which is called a dictionary. Okay, what is a dictionary? Dictionaries like, what if I write something like, in a list I was just adding the values, but in a dictionary I can add certain clusters. Okay, like I'm writing dictionary D. Okay, just giving a name equals to, I need to start it with a second bracket. So if I write maybe the first cluster, I want to name it as, let's say, first. Okay, and within the first I want to add different values maybe. And whenever I said, whenever you're going to add more than one value, you need to write them in a third bracket. So within a third bracket I may write maybe 11 comma 12 comma 15. Okay, then maybe I write mm, second, and in second I might add maybe only one value as maybe 30. And maybe I say the third one could be third, and again I can add certain values like maybe 1 2 3. Okay, this becomes a dictionary, but it is difficult to read it like this. So what we can do is, the names what I have given, like first, second, third, these are called keys. Okay. So if I want to know what are the different clusters I have, so I can write d dot keys. It's going to show me what are the different clusters I have, second, first, second, third. And if I write d dot values, it's going to show me all the values. Okay, all the different values. If I want to see only the what is there in the first, so I can write d within third bracket, and quotes I can write, maybe I want to see what is there in third. It's going to show me in third there are three numbers, 1 2 3. Okay, but if you make it a capital letter T, it's going to show you an error because it says I don't find anything called capital THIRD. All right, it has to be case sensitive. Okay, but then again it's not going to be very much useful for you. I will come to that part which is going to be useful afterwards. I mean, just after showing you one more thing. Then there is something called a series. Okay, series is what if I want to write maybe a consecutive numbers, maybe something like 1 to 10. Okay, so then what you can write is you can give a name, uh, maybe any name, like with my name Shubhajit equals to pandas dot series. Okay, as soon as you write pandas dot s, it's going to the automatic options are going to show you what are the things, what are the keywords or the syntaxes are possible to be written along with pandas. Okay, so with series, within series I can write range. Maybe I want something like 10 comma 20 or 10 comma 15. Okay, that means I want 10 to 15. Okay, but always remember in Python, if I have written 10 to 15, it's not going to count the last value 15, it's going to take till 14. Let's see how does it look like. So it got executed. Let's see what is there in Shubhajit. See, I have 10 to 14. It's not going to count the last value. It's going to take the last value, whatever I have written, the prior to the last value. This is called a series. Now, one more thing, you might get bored while writing the entire name pandas. So there's a easy shortcut to do it. While I was importing pandas, I can give an alias like as PD. Okay, so henceforth, rather than writing pandas, if I write PD, Python will understand I'm referring to pandas. Just it's a short form of pandas. It's going to give you the same result. Okay, but if you change the name, maybe DP, it's going to give you an error. DP is not defined. It does not mean that you cannot name it as DP. You can name it as only P as well. No problem. You can name it anything, whatever you feel like. Maybe after any one of your superhero as well. But normally the people who are writing the codes of Python, they will be naming it as PD. That's a normal traditional way. That doesn't mean that you are not allowed to write any give any other name, but traditionally this is what we give. All right, now these were all the boring part. Now let's come to something which is more beneficial and which usually we use, which is called a data frame. Like in most of the time, whenever you have worked with the data, you get to see there is something like this. It has some rows and some columns, right? Something like this. So this is called a data frame in Python. So let's see how we create it. So First of all, I'll give a name, I mean, to something. Let me name it as maybe Undertaker. I hope everybody knows Undertaker. So he was my favorite wrestler. Undertaker equals to, you can write PD. PD means I'm referring to pandas. You need to refer pandas over here. PD dot data frame. Okay, and just open a bracket and close it. Nothing will happen. So if I see what is Undertaker, it's going to be a blank data frame, no columns, no rows. Rows are in Python called index. Index means the rows. Okay, so there is nothing. But if I wish, I can add a column over here. How? By writing my data frame name is Undertaker. Then within bracket, I can give some name. Maybe I will name it as name. Maybe that means within Undertaker, I'm adding a column which is called name equals to, I will write maybe a ABC. Okay, so I'm writing more than one value. So I told you whenever you're writing more than one value, you need to put them in a third bracket. Now you need to write ABC. These are characters. Whenever you write characters, you need to put them in quotes. Okay, a small letter A, a capital letter A, both are going to work. Whatever name you have, A or B or maybe C. All right. So I have three names A, B, C. Now if I execute and see, so a column has been created called name, which has a value of A, B, C. So I can, if I wish, I can add more columns over here. Like the next column could be like maybe age. Now in age, I'm going to write numbers. So I don't have to put them in quotes. I can directly write 10, 20, and 30. Okay. See, now I have two columns. So if you wish, you can add more columns, as many columns as you wish. The last one maybe I will write maybe a gender, female, female, male maybe. Now look at over here. Now if you add another one like female, this is going to give you an error because till now you had been adding only three rows, right? Undertaker had only three rows. Now suddenly if you try to add the fourth value, it's going to give you an error. So if you want to add the fourth value, what you have to do, again you have to create it. PD.data frame, a blank data frame. Okay, so now when you are creating the first column, then you are allowed to add as many rows as you wish. So over here, if you want to wish more rows like D, you are okay. I mean, 4 rows, 40 rows, 4,000, 4,000,000, no problem. But once the first row is created, then the number of rows are fixed. Now you cannot add lesser number of rows, is going to give you an error. So you need to add some more values. Four values should be there, otherwise it's going to give you an error. Okay, now this is going to work. Gender. All right. Now you must be thinking that are we going to add or create data like this when we have millions of rows? Certainly not. This is only to make you understand. We are not going to create the data frame like this manually. Okay, the data will be given to us and we are going to simply import the data. That's it. So now let's understand how do we import the data set. Okay, data usually will be given to us in form of either CSV or Excel. Okay, these are the two most important or common file format, CSV or Excel. Let's understand that if I have a CSV file, this is a CSV file. Okay, how do you know it's a CSV file? Right click on it, go to properties. It's going to show you a CSV. All right. Yeah, somebody asked, I'm sorry, I missed your comments. Why we are not using print statement in Spider? Because print statement you do not have to use it. If you wish, you can still use it. Like if I write undertaker, is going to show you the result. If you write print undertaker, still is going to show you the same result. Okay, so why would I write an extra code when it's going to be redundant? It's not required. Okay, still if you wish to write it, you can use it, but not required. Somebody said I installed Kite also. What is the use of it? I'm sorry, I do not understand what is Kite. I mean, just once I get to see it, probably I'll understand, but just by saying Kite, because I have not used it, need to check it in Google. I do not know about it. Okay, okay, the package Kite you are referring to. No, Kite is presently some Kite is, I mean, not I mean compulsory. Even if you don't install it, that's okay. It's okay. I mean, the basic stuff it's definitely going to take care of itself. It's not a compulsory thing. So probably with the newer version, they have just uh, giving a pop-up. I mean, otherwise not required, not a compulsory thing. If you wish, you can do that. Otherwise, you can cancel it, no problem. Okay. Now let's see, understand that how we are going to import a data set. Now what I was telling you that I have a data set CSV file which name is data. So I have some name, age and sex. This is how they look like. Okay. I want to import this data set. Let's understand how we do that. So first of all, you I need to mention the path. Okay. That I can mention the path, the path of this folder every time while I import or export a data set. But it's better to just mention this path only once. So next time onwards, Python will understand that I am only referring to this particular folder. I do not have to change it every time. That's why in order to do that, you require another package that is import OS. See, again, I am not writing as something because anyway, the name is short enough. OS. Okay. Then you write OS dot change directory, CHDIR, change directory within bracket and within quotes. What you do is you copy the path of this folder and put it over here. Okay. And one more thing you have to do is wherever the slashes are there, either you make it double slash or you make it a front slash, but don't do a mix and match. Whatever you do, just make it uniform everywhere. Okay, don't do a mix and match and press the F9. So no error has been given. Had there been some mistake, this would have given you an error. Okay, so now Python understands I will refer only to this particular folder to import a file. Okay, so I want to import this particular file. Okay, so let's see how we can do it. I also have some other the codes written over here. I am going to send you these codes and all. It will be given to you. Okay, now how we do it? So we write pd, that is pandas dot read underscore csv within bracket. Whenever I'm saying read underscore csv, read means import, and Python will directly go into this folder because I have set this path. will to import the file, but there are so many files. Which file to import? How does Python know? So within bracket, within quotes, I need to mention the name of the file, that is data.csv. Okay. Now when it's going to import the file, I also need to give some name to it. Maybe I'll name it as maybe Kane. Okay, Kane is the brother of Undertaker as the storyline goes. Kane, and I press F9. Kane is imported. Kane has all the data set whichever is was there in data.csv. Let's see what is there in Kane. Kane has all these data set. Name, age, sex, it is imported. All right. Now, what if you want to export the data? I want to export Kane. So how to do that? Again, you can export it. Again, the export will also be happening in the same folder. If you want to change the path, then just put some other path and just execute it. So Python is going to import the file into that particular path. So you can write kane.to_csv. Okay. Now again, I need to give some name. I will name it maybe John Cena, johncena.csv. Okay, so Ken will be exported called John Cena. Presently, you see there are no file called John Cena. Okay, so if I export it, now I have John Cena. Yeah, the same one. Okay, see by default, Python will give you an index number over here. If you don't want this, I will delete it. So if you don't want this to be happening, so you write index equals to false. Now this time John Cena will not be having that index. Now you don't have that index now. Clear? Now let's understand how do we import an Excel file. Suppose you have an Excel file over here, data underscore Excel, with the same kind of data we have it. Okay, I want to import it. So you have the code over here. It's very similar to the previous one, whatever we just did. Pandas we already have imported. Another package is going to be required, which is called import xlrd. This package is required, otherwise you are not able to import an Excel file. So I will name it as maybe data equals to, don't write pandas because we have already given an alias like pd.read underscore excel. Earlier we were doing it as read underscore csv. Now we'll be writing read underscore excel. No need to put the path over here because we have already set the path over here. Right, the path is already set. Pd read underscore excel, the file name is data underscore excel. So put the file name data underscore excel, and there has to be a sheet name. Why? Because in CSV by default it's going to have only one sheet. You don't have multiple sheets in CSV, but in Excel you do have multiple sheets, right? So if I don't write anything, by default it's going to create import the sheet one, but it's better to put the name of the sheet, so which is called data. So you can write sheet underscore name equals to data, and I am saving it as data. So presently if I check data, there is nothing called defined as data, but as I import it, now I have data, all these data sets. All right. Now in a very similar way, I can also import a JSON file. .json, this is a JSON file, cars.json. So you have a code. It's very easy to do that. Very similar. Just write pd read underscore JSON and put the name of the file cars.json. I am saving it as boogeyman. Again, presently there is nothing called boogeyman, so it's going to give you an error. But as I execute it, now I get to see what is there in boogeyman. Okay, so any sort of files could be imported. So this is the JSON file. Okay, so the type is JSON file. So anything you can do it, but I don't suppose that the JSON file you're not going to use it very often. Mostly we'll be using uh, Excel and CSV. And to be more precise, you will be using more of CSV files. Okay. Any question up to this much? Now let me show you something else. Like this is the data. What if I want to create a copy of this data set? Just a copy. Okay. So maybe I will name it as rock. So how to do that? Copy. You write. So what I am doing, I'm going to copy a data set. So you write, give some name, like I'm giving it rock equals to data dot copy. Okay, bracket open, bracket closed. Now rock will be just a replica of data. Okay, sometimes maybe if you google it out, someone will say you rock equals to data. Still this is going to work, but then the problem is if you make any changes in data, the same changes will be also happening in rock. So it's better to use this data dot copy. This is a better practice. Now we are going to check certain data manipulation. Just imagine that this is a small data set which has 3 columns and about 10 rows. It's very easy for us to understand. No problem. But imagine there are multiple rows, maybe 1 million rows are there, and maybe 2000 columns are there. Now it's going to be difficult, right? So we cannot check them all together. Maybe we need to check 1 or 2 columns or only few columns, because this data set is a much bigger data set. So how do we do that? For that, we have something called one keyword called ILOC. So if you write rock dot ILOC, put a third bracket and a comma. Whatever you're going to write on the right hand side of the comma, that is going to refer to the columns. Whatever you're going to write on the left hand side of the comma, that is going to refer to the rows. Okay, this is how it's going to work. Let's see. And if I want all the rows, I have to put a colon. Colon means all the rows. You wish you can put some spaces over here, otherwise no problem. No space also will give you the same result, no problem. Okay, spaces doesn't matter. So if I put space colon, colon means all. Colon means all. In this case, on the left hand side I have written colon, means I'm referring to all the rows. What if I write here maybe 0? 0 means what? I am referring to the first. In Python I told you 0 means 1. I'm referring to the first column, that is name. So if I execute it, it's going to show me only the names, right? What if I write one, maybe the first and the third column? Can you tell me what should we write? Can you tell me? Yes, somebody was asking whether it's compulsory to add the path. It is not compulsory, but it is a better practice to add it. Uh, yes. You can use colon, but over here there are only three columns, that's why you could use colon. But had there been more columns, colon would not have been a more efficient way. So I said whenever you're writing more than one value, you need to be putting third bracket, 0 comma 2. That means the first and the third one I get to see. All right. Now, what if I want the maybe the first, second, third, fourth, fifth column, the first five? Okay. Though I will not be able to show you because I don't have five columns over here, I have only two. So how we could do that? We could also write 0 colon 2. 0 colon 2 means 0, 1, 2, all the three. But the problem is told you Python will consider whatever value you have written till the previous value. The last value you have written minus 1. That means in reality it's going to consider 0 colon 1. So if we actually want 0, 1, 2, we should be writing 0 colon 3. That means our Python will understand 0 colon 3. I mean 2. 0, 1, 2. Now I'm going to see all the three columns. But if I write 2 over here, I'm going to see only two columns. All right. The same thing could have been done over here as well. What if I want all the columns? I could write a colon. For rows as well, I could have done that. Maybe 0, 3, 4, 6, 7. That means all the columns and the 0, 3, 4, 6, 7, these many rows. Or else I could have, okay, colon, writing the colon for the column is not compulsory. Even if you don't write the colon, it means just leave it blank, still it means all. But that is not going to be applicable for the rows. For the rows, if you don't write a colon, it's going to give you an error. Okay, just have to remember these things. What if I write maybe the third column, maybe 0, 1, 2? I can write only 2. So I get to see only the one row. What if I write 2 colon 5 maybe? Okay. How many rows I'm going to see? Can you tell me? 2, 3, 4. Because I said the last one is not going to be considered. Clear? Okay. Now, it might so happen that we do not always be knowing the index number. Maybe it might so happen that I know there is a column called 6, but I have no idea whether it's the third column or the 30th column. I only don't know the name. In such scenario, what you will do is you write data.iloc, but you will not be writing I. You will be writing only LOC. Just by writing only LOC, it's going to allow you to write directly the name of the columns. Maybe colon, and for sex you need to put it in quotes. You can write directly sex, you get to see the sex. Okay, what if I want maybe name? Just write name, I get to see the name. What if I want name and the age, or name and the sex? Just the same way, third bracket, name comma sex. So I get to see name and sex. What if I want name, age, sex, all three of them? So instead of third bracket, I could give a colon. This one is not going to say that sex minus one, the previous one. No, till name and sex, all the columns, name, age, and sex, everything I get to see. Okay. In the rows also, there are no names. The names are in numbers. So it's going to be same way, maybe 0 colon 4. The only difference is in LOC, if you write 4, it's not going to be n minus 1, it's going to till 4. 0 to 4 means 0 to 4. In ILOC, it was minus 1. Over here, it's not going to be minus 1. It's going to take them all. The same thing could have been achieved by something called a head function. If I write rock dot head and press the F9, it's going to show me the top 5 rows. By default, top 5 rows. Top 5 rows means starting from the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 for all columns. Similarly, if I want the bottom 5 rows, I'll have to write rock dot tail, the bottom 5. If you don't want the top 5, you want more or less, you can put the number over here, maybe 2. It's going to show you the top 2 rows. You want the bottom 3 rows, just write 3. It's going to show you the bottom 3 rows. All right. Now, any question up to this much, by the way? Are you understanding these things? What uh, what two main things I want to import? One is pandas and other, no, pandas and NumPy and pandas. These are the two packages. But are you understanding the things up to this much? Or if you are thinking that it seems like too tough, whatever you feel, I mean, you can be honest with me. Not only the concept, the same code as well. PyCharm is just like another platform. Okay, now let me show you how do I use a filtering. Suppose over here in Rock, I want to know, I want to see who are the people who are less than maybe 30 years old. Okay, I want to see all the people who are less than 30 years old. So I'll write rock dot loc, third bracket, comma. I'm not going to write anything on the column side because I want to see all the columns. Over here, I will write, I want to indicate this column age, right? Because I want the age less than 30. So you write rock just the way we had done it, within third bracket, within quotes, you write age less than 30. So you get it. So all are less than 30 years old, right? So this is less than. And definitely, I'm sure you will be knowing this signs. This is less than equals to, right? Similarly, these are greater than and these are greater than equals to. This one clear, right? What if I say that I want all the people who are female? I want to see all the people who are female. So just the same way, actually, I'm going to show you how to write equals to. So you write all the people who are female. That means I'm referring to the sex column, sex. But in Python, whenever you are going to write equals to, for comparing, you need to put double equals to. But female is a character, so you need to put it in quotes. And in the data we have in capital letters, so you need to write it in capital. So it's going to show me all the people who are female. Fair enough. What if I want to see who are the people who are not female? So I can write exclamation. Exclamation means not equals to. What operations can we do with NumPy? NumPy is going to help you for all the numeric operations. Okay, the numeric operations, if you want to do maybe a sum or average or standard deviation, or I mean such things, variance, median, all sorts of numeric operations will be done by NumPy. I'm afraid I'll not be able to cover everything. Okay, because normally I take about 12, 13 classes to cover the entire Python. So I have only 1 hour, 10 minutes, something like that. So you can imagine, so it's not possible. But at least you get a glimpse of it. Pandas, so these are all the things we are doing it with pandas. So till now, whatever we have been doing, these are all with pandas, especially the data frame. Okay, now equals to, not equals to, these are all done. What if I have maybe uh, two options or two conditions? Let's suppose say that I want all the people who are female as well as more than 40 years old. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll simply copy this one, the one I had written. So I have all the female. At the same time, I also want the people who are more than 40 years old. That means what? I want both the conditions to be true. So we are going to use the AND function. So I'm sure you will be knowing this one. AND. So how to do that? So you are writing, whatever you are writing, you should be writing them in a bracket. Whatever functions you are writing, you should be writing them in a bracket, and within the bracket you should be using this and sign ampersand. That means both the conditions need to be true. So put this condition over here or here, doesn't matter. Okay, the next condition will be they should be their age should be greater than 40. So I have it. Okay, so now I have all the people who are female as well as more than 40 years old. So you can add as many conditions as you wish, like this. Similarly, there could be a condition like or condition. Maybe I want either that their name is A or B. Okay. If their name is A, still you show me. If their name is B, still you show me. Or function. So how to do that? Exactly the same way. You write it, they should be written in the bracket, and instead of ampersand, this pipe sign should be given. This is or. So what is the first condition I'll be writing? Rock name equals to A. The second one, I can copy paste it directly, will be B. So I get to see A or B. Similarly, if I want C as well, I can write it like this, C. So I have A, B, C. But imagine that I have more values like this. Now this is going to be irritating to write it like A or B or C. So there is a shortcut. Okay, there is a shortcut to write it. How do we write it? It's very simple. So rather than, you don't have to give the bracket then. Now rock dot third bracket name equals to, now rather than other than writing equals to, we can write dot is in, dot is in A. That means if rock name equals to A, but I have more values, not only A. And I said whenever you have more values, you should be writing them in third bracket. So A, comma B, comma C. That means if the name equals to A or B or C. So I have all the ABC. So the function name is in. This could have been achieved with OR function, no problem, but this is a shortcut way of writing it. This much clear. Any question? Anything which you did not understand up to this much? All right. Function means, I mean, function means with which you are going to do some task, like with equals to or LOC. I mean, these are functions. Okay. Now there is again another easy trick. What if I say I don't want to see ABC, I want the rest? Okay. Then are you going to write like if is in D, E, F, G, H? No. So I don't want to see ABC, right? So what you can do, by putting the entire stuff in a bracket, outside you can write not equals to, but we have learned not equals to is with the exclamation mark, but whenever you are writing it outside the bracket other than the exclamation mark, this is not going to work. So you have to give this sign tilde. This is also means not. So whatever in the bracket you do that and you exclude them, and rest you show me. Except ABC, show me the rest. So except ABC, I have the rest. All right. And the last part will be I need to create couple of columns for that. Otherwise I'll not be able to show you. Suppose I am creating certain, okay, so I have written kn within third bracket new. Here I have written kn dot age. This also works, okay, but still I will insist that you should write it in this format. It's a better way of writing, because with the dot notation it does not work everywhere. I also could have written it like within third bracket age. Okay, this definitely going to would have worked, but still this is a better way of writing. So I'm just creating a couple of columns. Now I have lots of columns. Okay. Now, why did I create it? It might so happen. Okay. So many columns are there now. Now, it might so happen that out of these columns that you are required to select maybe name, age, sex, new one. Okay, so you want name to sex, you want new one, as well as new 3 to new 5. These many columns you want to select. But we have understood, we have seen that while writing kn dot loc, it either gives us an option, maybe 0 column 3, first three rows, either it gives us an option to select a single column or consecutive columns. It does not give us the option to select both consecutive as well as discrete columns. Now, this is the extra trick I'm going to show you, that still we can select these columns by using numpy function. You remember we had done it, import numpy as np. So I'm going to write np.r underscore within third bracket. So I want the name to sex, right? So I will write 0 colon 3, okay, comma. I want the maybe new one as well. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll write 4. Maybe I want then 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 7 to 8. So I'll write 7 colon 9. I said the last one should be one extra, right? So if you execute it, oops, sorry, I'm getting certain error. So let's do it one at a time. If I write maybe 0 to 3, what is the problem? Mm, ken.loc.np.r underscore uh, let me copy it. Maybe I have made a small mistake which I am unable to understand. Sorry, it's going to be ILOC. My mistake, not LOC. Okay, with ILOC. I for index because we are writing the numbers and LOC is for the names. My mistake. It's going to be ILOC. Okay. See, now we have got it from name to sex and new one and new 3 to new 5. I'm sorry, it should have been, I said new 3, so it's going to be 6. So this time I have new 3 to new 5. So in this way, you can write both consecutive as well as discrete values. Okay, it could have been done for rows as well. For rows as well, I could have done that. Maybe 0, then I want from 3 to 5 and maybe 8. So I have 0, 3 to 5 means 1 less, 4, 3 and 4 and 8. This one clear? Okay. So that's going to be the end of it for today's class. Okay, I'm happy to take up your questions now if you have any questions, or I will share your attendance link. Just a second. and you have got a quiz to attend. I am sharing the link of both to you. Okay, there are very simple 10 questions with multiple choices which I have created for you. Okay, yep. Pradeep has already given it to you. Pradeep, if you have the also attendance link, you can also give it to them, or also I have sent it to my mail. I can send it.
Hello, sir. I have shared to you only.
Okay, okay, okay. I
Now
have
I
it.
am
I
now
I
I am
have it.
one second, one second. Actually, I made I reclaim my host actually. So I make I will do further.
Okay, okay, okay. No
Can if
problem.
you have any questions from the students, you can take further, or else I have already one second. I will stop the recording now.
Okay.